Business Jet Traveler magazine have just recently done a survey, and interesting stat that came out is that 58% of the people that were asked participated in this survey actually said they flew less in 2020 because of COVID lockdowns. We've certainly seen that private jet activity has been down, as also airline travel, because of the lockdowns. But the other interesting thing is they went and they did a survey regarding the preferred aircraft. Now, a lot of you asked me, what are the best aircraft in the various categories? Now, this is Business Jet Traveler magazine, that sent out this survey, and these are the aircraft that won in their various categories. We'll start right at the bottom with the turboprop, single-engine turboprop, and that's the PC-12, the Pilatus PC-12. There are 1,463 of these flying at the moment around the world. Then we go up to the twin turboprop, and that prize was won by the Beechcraft King Air. It's over 1,700 of these flying. Then we go into the very light jet and light jet category, where the Embraer Phenom 100 and 300 won. There's 763 of these flying around the world. Then we go into the mid-sized jet, and that's a Cessna Citation Latitude, and there are 245 of these flying. And then the super mid-size, we have the Bombardier Challenger 350. There's 355 of these flying around the world. And then when we get into the large cabin, ultra long range private jet, the prize goes to the Gulfstream G650. And there are about 425 of these flying around the world. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean, if you look at these stats, the preferred aircraft, it doesn't necessarily mean that one of these aircraft is the best one for you. As I always say, this is just general information. And, when we get into a private jet, it's very important to get into the detail of who you are, what you need to do, what you want to achieve with the private jet in order for you to make the right acquisition. So I always recommend talking to an advisor, and that could be me or somebody else. But come on, talk to a professional, and the professional will ask you a number of questions to sort of assess where you are at and what you need. Now, certainly coming into 2021, we're seeing a number of changes. Brexit has been finally done in the UK, so off the UK go on their own, and they'll be doing some free trade agreements with a number of countries around the world, from the United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea. How is that going to affect the economy, and how is that going to affect private jet travel? Of course, private jets are the first ones to go out there to do the flying. And of course, US election. Looks like Donald Trump has lost the election, even though there's still stuff going on in the background. And between now and the 20th of January, Mr. Trump's going to fight to stay in the White House. Whether or not that will happen or not, but if the administration does change, then of course that's going to, the policies of the United States is going to change, in particular their foreign policy, and this will have an effect on business and of course private jet travel. So there will be opportunities either whichever way it goes. The main thing though is that we're just all hoping that lockdowns are going to end, this virus gets under control, so that people can then resume traveling. I think that once travel does resume, I don't think we're going to see as much travel as we've seen in the past. People are going to be a bit cautious, but also people have discovered that you can get a lot done through this kind of means. Video conferencing, Zoom conferencing, a lot of deals have been done and can be done. And so I think a lot of companies and individuals, before they launch out to do on a business trip, they're going to sort of figure out if they can get it done remotely. But of course, people will travel for leisure, and that's certainly what we're seeing with private jet travel, which is at about 80 to 85% of what it was in 2019 right now. But most of those flights are leisure, and half of those people flying private are actually newcomers to the market. Now, there are about 44,000 private aircraft, and that includes the turboprops. You've often heard me say 22,000. 22,000 are the jets, but if we look at the turboprops as well, and we talked about turboprops on this episode, about 45,000, and if we consider the number of ultra high net worth individuals in the world, that's just under 9%. I think that number is going to increase, and we certainly see that on the low end. So the PC-12 market is very vibrant at the moment. the King Air market, the market with the Phenom 100 and 300s. So, lots of movement on the lower end where people are saying, even if they have to travel 500, 600, 700 nautical miles, I think I'll do it in a private jet. So there's lots of movement there. There hasn't been much movement on the the long range aircraft, and that's because there's been a lot of lockdowns. I'll give you an example. I got a call a few weeks ago about some people needing to travel from Denver to Hong Kong, and as soon as they heard that once they got to Hong Kong they had to quarantine for 2 weeks, they decided to scrap the trip and try and do the deal via Zoom. So once the lockdown ends, my prediction is the long haul travel will start, and the larger private jets will start to sell again. And we'll see that market pick up. So anyway, that's my take on what's happened so far, what's happening, looking at this Business Jet Traveller magazine survey as well. Lots of interesting data. But again, as far as choosing your private jet, it really is and needs to be specific. And so it's my recommendation that you speak to somebody like myself that can sort of evaluate your business, your needs, and come up with the right airplane solution for you.